This single day, three major crises popped up across the US, and they might seem unrelated at first glance, but together, they're really putting some of America's most important systems, we're talking transportation, trade, and even big business, under a ton of strain. So let's dive in and break down these pressure points. First up, I want you to look at this number. 10%. That's the percentage of flights at 40 major airports that are being cut. And no, this isn't because of a snowstorm or bad weather. This is a government-ordered cut, which means the system itself is under incredible stress. And that brings us to our first pressure point: absolute chaos in our aviation system. The reason for all this? A U.S. government shutdown that has now officially gone on longer than any other in history. And the fallout is hitting regular people hard, basically crippling the country's ability to fly. And behind all that chaos is another number: 36. For 36 straight days, thousands of absolutely essential people, the air traffic controllers who guide our planes, the TSA agents who keep us safe, they've all been working without a paycheck. This is way more than just a logistical headache. It's a huge crisis for the very people we rely on to keep the skies secure. Now, the official line from the government, from Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, is that this is all about safety. The argument goes that with staff stretched so thin, the only way they can guarantee security is to just have fewer planes in the air. But here's the thing. The way they're rolling this out is causing a lot of confusion. Reuters found out that it's not happening all at once. It's actually a staggered plan. A 4% cut on Friday, then 5% on Saturday, and it's going to ramp all the way up to that full 10% next week if this shutdown doesn't end. Basically, the chaos is designed to get worse over time. And you can imagine this lack of clarity is causing a real panic. A Reuters correspondent, David Shepardson, put it plainly: people are freaking out. And the airlines, they're scrambling. A huge part of the problem is that the FAA hasn't even officially said which 40 airports are going to be affected, so everyone is just left guessing.
So you have to ask, how did we even get to this point? Well, it's a political stalemate. The Trump administration seems to be using this travel mess to put pressure on the Democrats. That the Democrats say, hey, the Republicans are the ones who won't negotiate on important healthcare subsidies. It's a classic DC blame game, right? But this time, it's using an essential public service as a bargaining chip, and that raises some pretty serious questions.
So you've got this test of power happening in Washington over the shutdown. And believe it or not, at the exact same time, just down the road, a totally different test of presidential power is playing out in the Supreme Court. This is our second pressure point. We're talking about a huge legal challenge. The Supreme Court is actually hearing arguments about whether the big tariffs President Trump put in place are even legal. This puts a fundamental power of the president directly under the microscope of the judicial branch. And just so we're all on the same page, a tariff is really just a tax on goods coming into or going out of the country. Pretty simple. But what's not simple is whether the president has the authority to use them on such a massive scale. And that's what the court is trying to figure out. And get this, the early reports coming out of the courtroom suggest the justices are pretty skeptical. This is no rubber stamp. It sounds like the court is seriously questioning the legal basis the administration used for these tariffs. And that could signal a really historic check on presidential power. Okay, so we've got power being tested in the executive branch and the judicial branch. But what's happening in the corporate world? How is power being tested there? Well, the answer involves a number that's, it's almost hard to wrap your head around. And that brings us to our third and final pressure point today. Right now, Tesla shareholders are voting on a pay package for their CEO, Elon Musk. And this isn't just any pay package. It's something corporate America has literally never seen before. This vote could completely change how we think about paying executives. Yeah, that is not a typo. The potential value on the table is $1 trillion. This vote is about so much more than one person's salary. It's a landmark moment for corporate governance. It's a vote on how we define value and what it really means to reward leadership at such an unbelievable scale. So let's just quickly recap the pressure points from today. We've got our skies grounded, testing our entire transportation system. We've got trade policy being challenged, testing the limits of presidential power. And we have an unprecedented pay package, testing our whole idea of corporate value. Each one is pushing a core American system right to the edge. So you've got three different crises, all hitting on the very same day, each one pushing a different system to its breaking point. And it really leaves us with a big question to think about. When our fundamental systems are put under this much pressure all at once, Where do the cracks start to show first? And maybe more importantly, what do those cracks tell us about the foundation they're built on?